can do this. Hey everybody, trying to go live in both places, so give me a minute. For some reason, Facebook is like not my friend these days in trying to go live. So I'll try again, but hello. I'm gonna try one more time on Facebook, and if this doesn't work, I'm just gonna have to post the video. I don't know what's going on these days with Facebook, but it's just not letting me do it. So, all right, let me do this then. Hey guys, I am gonna bring this lower then. I have a tripod here. Morning. All right, so bear with me. I'm just gonna post this to Facebook then, because I am not, something happened to Facebook Live while I was in the hospital. I don't know what. Hi, Marshella, thank you. But like I can't go live anymore. So anyway, welcome to Self-Care Sundays. Today we're gonna talk about gratitude. Got my Grateful Dead shirt on. You know, and it's obviously the perfect topic as we lead into Thanksgiving, right? This is Thanksgiving week. This is actually my favorite holiday. You know, mainly because there's no pomp and circumstance. There's no need to like go buy gifts, and you don't have to dress up or do anything like that the other holidays kind of require. And it's really just about being thankful and remembering how lucky we are. And so for me, that's just, I try to live in that space. So it's just my favorite holiday. It's going to be different this year, right? It's going to be different for all of us. We're not going to be able to be with family. And kind of struggling, you know, with that a little bit. You know, I know that I've had a couple COVID tests, especially recently because of procedures. My wife just had one. We're all negative, which is great. So we think we're going to be able to celebrate with at least my mom, who we've been kind of quarantining with to an extent. And so it'll just be a really small family gathering. And you know what? That's what it has to be this year, because we are still at the height of this pandemic. In fact, we're at the second, if not third height of this pandemic, and the numbers are astronomical, and we have to just be really smart and be really protective of each other and be grateful for our own health, right? And be grateful for the fact that we have a roof over our heads and we can have a dinner, and you know, we do have people that we might be surrounded with. And if you're someone who does not have someone to spend Thanksgiving with, then let's figure out ways that you can have support and find support, right? Lots of online groups, lots of online chats and Zoom meetings and lives. I will commit to going live on Thanksgiving for those folks who maybe don't have someone to have dinner with or don't have someone to spend that day with. So I will commit that to you right now. On Thanksgiving, I will go live, and we'll just kind of have some time together just to be grateful and to be seen and to be heard, right? Because that's really the most important thing. We are going through this really dark time. It's the days are physically getting shorter. It's darker earlier, and we're moving into what is traditionally a really hard time for people in general, just for emotional wellness. And then you layer on top all this other noise politically, right? All that noise. And then this real reality of a global pandemic where people are sick and they're dying, and people are losing loved ones in ways that are unimaginable, and they can't be there for each other. And so we have to create spaces that are safe, that are home, that are places where we can come and just feel seen and heard. So again, today's topic is gratitude. And I want to talk briefly, and I'm not going to give a lot of space to this, but a lot of you know that on top of everything else that I have gone through over the past couple months, I had another, situation arise this week where, I was targeted politically for the work that I've done on behalf of survivors of sexual violence. And there was a pretty visceral vote taken on the Pennsylvania Senate floor, and I was essentially voted out of my position. What that means is my position as victim advocate is one that requires the governor to appoint you, and then the entire Senate confirms you. And so I've been in this position for 7 years. I love my job. I love what I do. I love working with survivors of all crimes, and I do so every day. And I was first nominated 7 years ago by Governor Corbett, and I was unanimously confirmed by the Senate. And then I've done this job, and I feel I've done this job really well for the last 7 years. Probably some folks would say I've done it too well, and that's probably where I have, earned the air of some individuals, that I've angered some individuals. And so through the course of my time as victim advocate, there's been a lot of talk about sexual violence, and there have been amazing, incredible survivors who have come forward in ways they never had before. We saw the Me Too movement come together as I was in this position, the Jerry Sandusky prosecution, the Bill Cosby case, the 40th grand jury report, which was just one of many grand jury reports in the state of Pennsylvania that just, exposed horrific sexual violence in the Catholic Church. And so I have, worked very hard with those survivors, and I've advocated for them, and I've gone to court with them, and I've elevated their voices, and sometimes I've been their voices when they couldn't. I also advocated really strongly for survivors who approached me who had been victimized by people in our General Assembly, by House representatives, by staffers, and by senators. And many of those cases I couldn't do a lot with because there were already existing NDAs and there were already existing agreements in place. And then there were some where there weren't. And we were able to move forward, and we were able to give voice to those stories and to those real acts of horrific violence. And so as a result of all that, I have pissed off some folks in the Pennsylvania Senate. So the good news is this: I still have my job. I remain the acting victim advocate for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. One of the number one things that I am the most grateful for today is for Governor Wolf, and for Lieutenant Governor Fetterman, and for Senator Jay Costa, and for Senator Lisa Baker, and for some of the brave, amazing Senator Katie Muth, some of the amazing, wonderful human beings in Pennsylvania who have stood up and who spoke out on my behalf and who are fighting this insanity. And so because of them, I still have a job. And so I am incredibly grateful for that. I'm going to not talk anymore about that because I don't want to give it any more of the energy that it has. Just know that I'm fighting. There's this wonderful petition that, so here's another thing that I am the most grateful for. Survivors, allies, and advocates have come out of the woodwork fighting for me, writing op-eds, posting on social media. There's a petition circling around, and I am so humbly grateful for every single one of you. You have no idea what your commitment means to me. I will say this: I'm not used to needing. So I think for me, 2020, this has been the year for me to receive, which is really hard for me because I'm a person that is usually giving. I am a person that, I'm an advocate. This is what I do. I help other people. And so for this last year, I have been in this vulnerable space where I've needed help. And I've had to ask other people to be there for me and to provide. And it's been so humbling. And I'm so grateful for that because people show up for you in ways unexpected. And time again, over the course of the last couple months, I am just so in awe of the beauty of community and people. When you're honest and when you're humble and when you put yourself out, the receiving that you get, just beyond anything I could ever imagine. So thank you. Thank you so much, each and every one of you. And it is perfectly in line with the topic, right? Gratitude. So there's a couple things I want to talk about. For me, gratitude is one of the foundations of my recovery program. It's what keeps me humble. I think gratitude is really a grounding mechanism. And so what I'm going to ask you to do for the next couple of days, and then on Thanksgiving, we'll get together and we'll kind of report back, is I want you to kind of dive into gratitude. And I want you to wake up every morning, and I want you to pick up a pen and a notebook if you have one, and I want you to write down what you're grateful for. And I just want you to, right off the top of your head, I don't want you to overthink it. I don't want you to have to force yourself. Make a list. That list may be 1. It could be 2. It could be 3. It could be 4. What I want you to do is every day from now until Thanksgiving is I want you to wake up, and the first thing you do is I want you to write a gratitude list. And so keep a notebook by your bed or wherever you sleep, couch, cot, wherever you sleep, and just write that. And then let it go. Just write it and put it away. And then as you go throughout your day, and then as you conclude your evening, I want you to pick that same notebook back up. And I want you to not only revisit the things you wrote, but I want you to look and see, are there things you can add? Did things happen for you throughout the day? Did situations arise? Did people show up for you? Did things happen that made you pause and just be thankful and be grateful? And if so, I want you to then add to that list. And then I want you to do something a little different, right? Gratitude lists are usually just lists and then we let them go. This one is a little bit more involved. I want you to then think about, what are things you did that day that you could have done differently? Are there ways that you behaved? Are there things that you said? Are there events in the day that you could have handled in a different way, that you could have shown up maybe differently? And then I want you to really kind of take an inventory of that. Like, look at your day, look at your actions, look at your words, look at your thoughts, and be honest with yourself, right? We're not perfect. And we make a million mistakes every day. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes all the time. What is important for me in recovery and just in terms of overall emotional wellness is that I take an inventory of myself all the time. Sometimes probably too much. We can get to that in a different live. I think we talked about that in Expectations a couple weeks ago. But I take an inventory of my behavior, my actions, my thoughts, and my words. And then I think, okay, are there things I could have done differently? Are there things I could have done better? And so I want you to do that also. And then I want you to list a couple goals for yourself, right? So put them right under that gratitude list. Like, so if today's Sunday, start tomorrow. Monday morning, here's what I'm grateful for. Monday night, I've added these things that I'm grateful for. And then here's my inventory of self from the day. And then here are some things that I could do differently and will try to do differently tomorrow, right? Just make that list every day from now until Thursday. And then when we come back together on Thursday, we can share that list and maybe have more of a conversation about it. That's it. I'm not going to stay on real long today. It's 11:11, and that always is a symbol that my dad is present. So if you know me, I'm goofy, and I think 11:11 is a sign from my Father in heaven. So it's 11:11. If that's a sign for you, everyone acknowledge that in this moment it's 11:11 and how important that is. Just be good to one another. Show up for each other in the ways that you would want someone to show up for you. Be grateful. I know it's hard right now to be grateful because it's really easy to slip into anger and fear and uncertainty. I'm not a person that does well with the unknown. And so this whole year for me has been a lesson in living with the unknown and living with having to trust and have faith and lean on other people. So do the things that you need to do today to get through this holiday. This is going to be our first major holiday. We had Easter. It was kind of in the beginning of all this, but we're moving into these kind of major holidays, regardless of your faith or your religion, whether you celebrate Thanksgiving, whether you don't, whether you celebrate other feasts, Friendsgiving, and then as we move through the various other holidays that are upon us, these are going to be hard, but we can do that. And as Glennon Doyle says, we can do hard things, right? We can. We've proven it time and time again. We're warriors. We're strong people. Sometimes we have to have other people call upon our strength for us, and sometimes other people have to be a warrior for you, and that's okay. Whatever it is that you need today, vocalize that need, verbalize that need, and find the supports that you need. For those of you that are in recovery like myself, there are tons of online recovery meetings on Thanksgiving. Find them, log on, find that support that you need. One of the things that I'm toying around with, and I would love to know your thoughts on this, so just send me like a private message. I want to maybe start a different type of group. I'm not going to call it a support group or a meeting, but just a space for survivors of sexual violence who are also struggling with recovery or other coping mechanisms. If you would want to come into a safer space, not like a live, because obviously this isn't a place where we can really engage. But what I'm thinking is maybe like a private Zoom conversation, like once a week, once every other week. If that's something you'd be interested in, I'm toying around with potentially doing that. Just so over the next couple months, we can provide support for each other, we can provide community, and we can provide connection. I've been having conversations with a lot of other survivors and other folks in recovery, and it seems to be, kind of a missing thing. There's a lot of recovery meetings, but there aren't a lot of recovery meetings that talk specifically about, sexual violence and the fears and the challenges and the stuff that comes along with that. So if that's something you'd be interested in, let me know. And I think I'm gonna launch that next. But until then, be safe. Try to make good choices. Lean into gratitude. Lean into your vulnerability and know that you're going to be okay. And know that I'm going to be okay. Thank you again for all of the support and just the messages. And there's a fierce group of people that I'm so privileged to be a part of. And so I can't even give words to the amount of gratitude that I have right now. And please know that I will show up for you 10 times in the exact same way that you're showing up for me today, or whatever way you need me to show up for you. Because that's how we do this. That's how we do this thing called life. It's how we get through this stuff. So thank you. I will see you at some point on Thursday. I'm not sure. I don't really know exactly what my schedule is going to be for my dinner. But I will jump back on here and we will have we'll just have a little talk. We'll come back and we'll center ourselves and ground ourselves in gratitude. Last but not least, what I'm going to say is Wednesday night is historically the most dangerous night for drunk driving. It is historically the night where people go out and they drink and they drive and they gather. So what I'm hoping and praying for all of you, because let's be real, there were still 1 million people that traveled through the nation's airports on Friday. So people are traveling. People are going home. They're doing things that they're making choices. I'm not going to judge anyone's choices. And so those choices are going to result in more people on the road. And so bars are still open. We know that Wednesday night, this is still most likely going to be a dangerous night. So be careful, be safe. If you can, stay home. Don't go out on the roads. If you are someone who's going to go out and partake, please use Uber, Lyft, or a cab or a friend, designated driver. Don't be the reason for another empty seat at a table next year for Thanksgiving, okay? Just do me that favor. I'm not going to judge your decisions about drinking or doing whatever you do. Do you. Just do it safely. Be smart. Be safe. So that's my last thought. I will see you guys all on Thursday. And as always, thank you so much for showing up. Have a happy Thanksgiving.